Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your Smackdown post-show. A lot of rematches, but some exciting developments on here as well. LA Knight winning the U.S. title back, heading into WrestleMania. Naomi, my goodness. Of all people, Naomi betraying Bianca and Jade. We've got a lot to get into, but get in your super chats. No humper chats tonight, just super chats for the time being. I'm having a little trouble accessing our humper chats document, but please do get those super chats in and leave a thumbs up on this video as well. Speaking of Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi, FightfulSelect.com confirmed Dave Meltzer's report that there was some heat on Jade, particularly from Shayna Baszler, with a whole bunch of additional details. So head over to FightfulSelect.com as well. Whenever there's a scoop that somebody else breaks, we always get the question like, oh, do you not like that? And Sean's like, no, I actually love that because he has enough supplemental details at this point that he can kind of round out stories, and he loves the competition. So bring it on. Good stuff there. Plenty more on FightfulSelect.com as well. We also have AW Revolution this weekend, which looks like a hell of a card, man. If you put out where the best wrestle and follow it up with the card that you're giving me this weekend, you're in good shape. But Sean will have the post show for you on Sunday for that. Cresta and Iridium will have your Collision post show for you Colliders tomorrow. But we are here to talk some SmackDown on the heels of the heel turn of the century, my friends. My goodness. So much to get into on that. We heard from Cody Rhodes today as well. But Alex, despite kind of these really awesome developments in this show of finding out about Naomi, very dramatic, but also like it was not very demure, not very mindful, but like wrestling is dramatic. Let's be so for real. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Cody Rhodes promo, which I thought was really good. But buddy, 3 hours of rematches is too much. I told you off air when I was putting together this broadcast, I was double checking. I was like, is this from the right week? Because Shinsuke and LA Knight seeded a bunch. Michin and Chelsea seeded a bunch. A Cody Rhodes appearance. We get that a lot here on SmackDown. Thankfully, we should. He's our champion. All of the tag teams are the ones that are always in the mix. A lot of this build to the road to WrestleMania here, feeling a lot like the road to Royal Rumble and the road to Elimination Chamber. I'm getting worn out on these same combinations time after time of the in-ring, especially for a 3-hour show.
I say it every week, and I just don't want to feel like, like I'm a hater. These internet people that like to say nice things.
Haters.
Stuff. I don't call them haters.
Motor City Machine Guns hater, Alex Cardoza.
In order for you to hate, that means there must have been some type of love or feeling towards them.
It's so true.
True. Let Alex be poetic tonight, baby. Guys, you know the drill. Make sure you hit that like button. There's a couple of you on here right now. 3 or 4 people watching right now. So I'd like to see that counter move all the way up to... Let's round it up to 60 likes, and we'll see where tonight goes. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Let's go.
You guys showed out in a big way for us last year. We do have over 1,300 of you guys watching, and we got some early chats from you guys. Fidbick Awesome saying rough week for little Nate chat. We're gonna talk about that. And Kim Gray saying Kate with the cute hair. Well, thank you. Not gonna lie, I was a little nervous about the hair situation, but it turned out all right.
Great.
Thank
perfect.
You.
You didn't get the Karen cut. If you would have gotten the Karen cut, we all would have told you
it's feeling very it's giving Spy Romp or Flapper generation situation.
It's giving me that Fifth Element kind of look.
Okay.
Great film and even better actress, and you're in that elite crowd now.
I'll take it. I do eventually want to get back to blonde for the summer, but we're back in business. I'll tell you why I was nervous. This was a Groupon situation. Okay, I was doing a little bit of a balling on a budget situation. Good reviews.
No idea they were still around.
Oh yeah, Groupon. If I'm looking for something on the sly, and if there's that luxury that you're well, inflation's through the roof, but I want to give myself a little treat. Groupon's the way to go.
I might have to throw some, Groupons out there for some collabs.
That's what's up. That's what's up. But let's rock and roll into this episode of SmackDown, guys. Thank you so much. Let's talk about what should we talk about first? Let's talk about Cody first, because we had this heel turn from John Cena. They told us 480 times between when it happened and now, with different reactions, different broadcast booths, the regular footage. Oh my gosh, we understand. If we're watching you on SmackDown, we've heard about this by now. I understand it's a very big deal, but holy cow, you don't need to see this video package anymore. You're making me not like it. But immensely well done from everybody involved. But Cody comes out, and I liked what we got from Cody. Man, it makes me wish the earlier part of his run had more for him to sink his teeth into, because I feel like from the Gunther stuff on, he's been killing it. Like, he's been doing a really good job. And when you give him a story like this to tell, he is a really, really effective promo. I thought this was really strong from him, but he has this black eye, which we can all see, and some signs of a ruptured eardrum. But he places the title on the mat, and the crowd chants. And we see the package of him lying in the ring and bleeding. And he explains everything about the injuries he sustained and how he had to explain them to his daughter, which is a good, like, heart-wrenching thing of like, Dad, why can't you hear? Dad, why is your eye black? Like, that's different than like, oh, I broke my arm or whatever. And for as emotive of the story as it is, I feel like putting the viewers of this promo like in the shoes of what you would have to do in that situation, I thought he did a really, really good job with. And he talks about, John Cena calling him a previously a hero and a mentor. And he says kind of like, this Mr. Never Give Up guy just gave up. And he assumes that John Cena will try and justify his actions, but there is no justification for it. And I really liked this because it was not such like a, boy, it's great to be here in Philadelphia moment, but he calls back to WrestleMania being there and says, this specific crowd chose me once before, and I appreciate them choosing me here again, but that the title gets heavier every day. I thought this was really well done, considering we haven't heard from Cena yet. Like, he didn't have any feedback to give off of why John Cena did this yet, because we haven't heard why John Cena did this yet. We haven't heard The Rock say why he chose John Cena to do this yet. So him just having the attack to go off of, I actually thought this was really good. And this is the kind of stuff I like to see from like pure babyface Cody Rhodes. I thought this was extremely well done.
Well, I sure don't mind him being in these long drawn out storylines that mean something, right? As opposed to like just going out there to talk and
like the most
whatever.
important heel turn since the NWO, right? Like that's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. I also want a little more range from him. I feel like every time I see Cody in the ring, it's the same face. He's about to cry all the time.
He is.
So
it's like when Daniel Garcia went through that phase where it just felt like he was crying all the time. I can understand that. But this one I feel like is really warranted.
He's
this
going through his emo phase. I understand. You never know when you're gonna hit it, but
I've got the bangs for it, man.
Yeah, you should do that sometime.
Is this there it is. Than you bargained for? Yeah.
Now you gotta just put your camera above you like this and just do the whole show.
Down.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it. I often find myself criticizing him internally a lot, because it's just, I feel like sometimes a lot of these storylines, they've kind of have the same undertone from him. Oh, gotta fight his way through and gotta tell my baby girl what happened and why it happened. I feel like that's happens a lot with him.
Sure.
But I understand the amount of craziness surrounding the fact that, everyone's all-time favorite. Don't forget, he used to be a heel before. Went back to being heel. I don't want people to miss that. There was a period there for the last 21, 23 years, whatever that,
My
he was
entire fandom, John Cena has been a face. That's
correct. Right.
crazy.
So there's
That's
a
crazy.
generation there that has not taken that step back to seeing him as the prototype when he came in and he was, the doctor of thugonomics. That was a hell of a heel run that he had when he did that whole persona. So looking forward to seeing what these next couple of weeks bring, because I mean that's all he really has left. I know when I say a couple of weeks, I don't mean like 3 or 4. I mean it's a long couple of weeks, but
we got like 6 or 7 weeks, right? So
right,
there's time. Yeah.
The whole thing is like he's making his appearances very, here and there. So I know he's filming movies and doing things in between. So
but will The Rock be back around is the other interesting aspect to this.
Right. The amount of times that we'll see John Cena on camera will be more, here and there than everything else.
Yeah. You know what? There was a clip that was circulating about it was John Cena sitting down with Chris Van Vliet in a really great interview where they talked about him. This was years ago. They talked about the possibility of going heel, and they had planned it in 2011. He was like, I had singlets, like proper wrestling gear. I had boxing robes. I changed my theme. I had all these things. He was going to tell, at that time, Vince McMahon to pause the Make-A-Wish Foundation. All of the babyface stuff he was doing, he was going to be around less because hustle, loyalty, and respect. He's now the opposite of all those things, right? So I think it's actually really interesting that while he's off making movies and he's Hollywood Rocks guy now.
Yeah.
Like, I think the promo was probably going to be, hey, I said after wrestling, I was going to F off to Hollywood. Why wouldn't I do everything that The Rock says? But shout out to you because you guessed that The Rock was turning heel. And I thought for sure it was going to be CM Punk. So you win this time, Cardoza. But I'll tell you what. I could get some wins back this weekend. I could make some money off of AEW Revolution, okay? There's ways for me to get my W's. And that's with BetOnline, my friends.
I want to talk to you guys about our great partner at BetOnline AG. Yes, the place that lets you bet on pro wrestling. We've gotten our pro wrestling betting odds from them for years, well before we even worked with them. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about them. They got the earliest lines, the fastest payout, the industry best bonuses. They've been trusted for 25 plus years because of their safe and secure environment and their quick payouts. But you can bet on pro wrestling. How cool is that? If you think you know more than anybody, go ahead and look at those odds. It's the same ones you've seen on Fightful for years. You might see one that sticks out to you and you go, wait a second, there's no way that person's going to win. Why are they an underdog? Make yourself some money. BetOnline AG. And hey, it doesn't stop there. Whatever sports you want, they got you covered. Popular games like blackjack and roulette, Supernova, Skyward, all that stuff. BetOnline AG. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can at BetOnline AG.
BetOnline AG, a great partner to us. We're happy to have them back. I've got your Revolution odds right here. Now, I would wait to see what we get from Collision tomorrow. I don't think there's overwhelming like underdog picks to play with, but you got Shane Strickland, you got Swerve at the minus 1,000, which I think is probably good. You got Okada at a minus 3,000, which that makes a lot of sense. Kenny Omega at a minus 1,000. If you think there's a shot in heck Takeshita wins, that's a good one to put some money down. I do think Kenny's winning, though. You got Mercedes Moné at a minus 3,000. So here's the thing. It seems pretty predictable, but if there's a single upset, you are making some cash on a lot of this. The Hurt Syndicate at a minus 3,000. Will Ospreay at a minus 1,000 in that cage match. Now, here's a couple that get a little more interesting. We've got Adam Copeland, who has weakened everybody that's around.
I knew she wasn't looking, so I scared her.
Terrifying. I know I don't have my other monitor set up today.
I went to Jimmy's. Jimmy has a 4 monitor setup. I thought me having 3 was a lot. Like
the 4 is cool though because they're stacked. Like if you do,
you got that goofball Russo that's like, Sean's not looking Bischoff in his eyes during an interview. Like Bischoff lives in my Logitech webcam or something like this. Like this is how I do my interviews. But I've got 3 screens. but Jimmy's got 4. But I wanted to swing by. Of course, yeah, BetOnline, phenomenal. So glad we've resumed our partnership with them. A deal I was trying to make work for a long time, and so happy to be with them for the foreseeable future. But we're gonna have some locks over on FightfulSelect.com.
Okay.
That's $6 a month in the business. But for people watching this show, listen, I don't know what these two are doing, but since Raw is going to be airing live, I'm going to be doing the post shows live as well. So if you're watching this, if you're in the UK, if you're in Hungary, if you are in Italy, if you're anywhere, by God, you'll get the same opportunities that our wonderful US viewers get, and you'll get a live post show after that. We'll determine what we'll do with the SmackDown show and all that. But before you get to this guy's super chat, I want to shout him out. He gave me a great name from my new MJF series or my new interview series where I give behind the scenes stuff. And he says it should be interview.
Ooh, I love
Good
that.
stuff. Good
He's
stuff
also just
there.
like one of the best humans that
He's
we
great.
have around here. But Sean, before you go into anything else, I was actually getting to the two that I think might be the most interesting as far as betting odds. MJF set a -200 with Hangman. And we got Moxley at a -220, but the story with Cope and Christian's cash in, I think, make those both pretty interesting. I'm not going to ask you to answer any questions because they're going to be Fightful Select lock bets, it sounds like. But I'm just saying, those two, I think, are the most interesting ones to me.
One of those two will be a Fightful Select lock.
Oh, okay.
And they're very close odds. So you might be able to win a little money on it. Listen, we have done... I say it's so funny. I sound like the guys that do the NFL betting odds on the radio before. But we have, since we started our partnership with BetOnline, 15 lock picks. Every single one of them hit. And you might go, yeah, but those odds are crazy. Not always. In fact, Samoa Joe was an underdog at World's End 2023, and we picked him to win. Rey Mysterio was an underdog. And people were like, well, how did you know that one? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because we broke the news that Jason Kelsey had been training at the Monster Factory. And I thought, what could he be doing at WrestleMania 2 months after he was seen partying with a Rey Mysterio mask on after the Super Bowl? Gee, I wonder what he could be involved with. Maybe it's that Rey Mysterio fella. And there were a couple other underdogs throughout the year. These days,
I turned $25 into $200 because I listened to Joel Pearl.
There you go with Masha, right?
It was Masha versus Jordan Grace, and Jordan Grace was heavily favorited. But Joel was like, the story they've been telling says no, like Masha kind of has to go over. And I was like, well, that sounds like, I'm not a big bettor, but I was like, I'll throw a couple bucks on that. And then it came true. And I was like, I'm a little bit bigger of a bettor now.
Listen, if you've got one and everybody says, oh, it's easy to predict these things, throw a little down on it. And of course, bet responsibly, only bet what you can. But yeah, the odds makers at BetOnline are really, really plugged in too. That much I'll say. Like it was so funny because they hit me up. We nailed down our deal to continue with BetOnline. I want to say Friday, and they go, so what's up with all this movement on Drew McIntyre? And I said, I think y'all are good. I think you all are good, guys. I was like, he's not winning that match.
Go on Fightful Select and get those lock picks because it's either that or one egg, as me Normus points out for the cost of this chat. You can get one egg or a month worth of wrestling scoops at SGS Shenanigans. Kate, your hair looks great. Kate, well, thank you so much. Wear them clavs, Alex. We'll get to Alex. Don't you worry. You guys got to leave some more thumbs up if you want to see that. But let's talk about that paywall. You got any scoops for us that you want to chat about?
Story that didn't make the Undertaker too happy about LFG, but I wanted to clear up a misconception about that because I did hear that some people, like including him, might have been a little bothered by that. We put at the bottom of that story a very important disclaimer, and it said, just to be clear, we have not heard that the Undertaker politicked to get Mickie James kicked off that show or to have her replaced or anything. He had just stated from the beginning of his run on LFG that he hoped to work with his wife on the show, because why wouldn't he? And from what I understood, they were interested in bringing her on in season 1, but she couldn't do it. I don't know exactly what else happened, but I do know that The Undertaker wanted to work with his wife, but there's a lot of people acting like he got Mickey kicked off. I don't know that to be the case, and I made sure to report that. Listen, there was a tweet and delete from Meltzer the other day, and it was I saw a lot of people burying him. They're like, "This isn't true. This isn't true." And I'll speak to what I can here. It was he put it behind his paywall today, and it was about Cody Rhodes being pitched a heel turn. So listen, I got dunked on hard this past week because everybody acted like The Rock coming out and doing this and bam, bam, all that stuff.
The hand jive from Greece. Yeah.
Well, I had somebody hit me up who would absolutely know that said, you were right about that story, right? And I go, yes, I do know that I was right about that story, but I've got no way to prove it. And then they gave me a little more detail, and they said, well, Cody Rhodes was pitched a heel turn. And he pushed back against it, said he didn't want to do it, didn't think it was time. And then they went with the John Cena element, which I think is a way better idea. I had people saying, oh, you're trying to make The Rock look bad. And I'm like, how would that make The Rock look bad? That they pivoted to a way better thing, and he was a part of one of the greatest angles in wrestling history. How does that make him look bad? We got more details on Fightful Select about that, because there are elements of Meltzer's story that I can't confirm, but there are some elements that I can. But I will say that him tweeting and deleting that and then put it behind the paywall is the equivalent of don't show feet for free in my line of work. That is what he did, and I respect it, Dave Meltzer. I really do. We have a lot on the Jade Cargill heat and all that stuff.
Yeah, some really important details in that one, guys. Go check that out.
There are, and I was able to get some people that were close with her that shared at least their side of things. But I had some people saying, well, why is this coming out now? I'll tell you why it came out now. Last year, I was asking about all the Shayna stuff because I heard about it. And one of the things that I had heard was Shayna was like, you mean out of everybody in the locker room, you want problems with me? Type of thing. Like, it was like a befuddled type of thing, but a lot of people were keeping it quiet. Then when Jade came back in that promo release and she talked about wolves in the shape of women around her, a lot of them were like, oh, okay. And they felt like they had protected her, even if they had a little bit of heat. And that's why that came out. I can tell you people close to Jade were like, she was working an angle. She was talking about getting attacked in a storyline. Like, I could definitely see what that side of it was, but it's, this is today it's in the news. Tomorrow they're wrapping dead fish with it. She'll talk to people at SmackDown. They'll all get over it. That's a pretty tight knit locker room, and they will hopefully move past it and all that stuff. There's not usually much drama in that locker room. I mean, there was definitely been some discontent on how people are used. And all that stuff, but we have that. We have AEW news. We're going to have a lot of Revolution news, including, I'm not going to, I can't tease what I'm going to put out Sunday, but I know a story I'll be writing Sunday already about somebody who'll be hanging around.
Oh, there you go.
That's
little teaser for y'all.
We'll have a scoops thread. We'll have a scoops thread tomorrow. It's funny. If I ever die, which you never know, maybe sooner than later, Jeremy Lambert will have access to about, 40 pages worth of scoops that just aged and and I couldn't release. There's actually one that I'm going to release tomorrow that I was supposed to release around the last AEW pay-per-view in LA, and why some things changed for the promotion of it, and why it ties into this weekend show. I'm excited about that one. But yeah, I appreciate you.
Look at everything he's giving you context clues for over here. But
it's like there are so many things, and I'm like a geek of finding out, why did this change? Why did this change? Like, that's my favorite part of this job, is finding out why and how things happen and then sharing it with other people. But
well,
we
you're
got
really
all
good
that.
at it, and it lets
Thank you.
me coast off your coattails. So thank you.
I don't know. I did have a lot of people claiming that when a lovely woman by the name of Jamie Hayter confirmed our story that I was somehow wrong about that story. But
It blows my mind that people are like, cook that fraud when people are like confirming accurate stories.
I got to be honest. I was like, hell yeah, man. Like,
I was like, people
if Jade
asked where
Cargill
Jamie
wanted
was.
to come
does
out
people
12
want to-
minutes after my report today and like just say everything I said, I'd be like, shit, thanks for the commercial. Like, thanks for the signal boost. Like, it wouldn't bother me. It's their news to kind of put out there. But yeah. And also, I want to say, Vicky, hope you're doing well. Know you've been down in the dumps lately, but
Vicky rules.
Vicky
Vicky
does rule. I'll be
rules.
back here Sunday doing my AEW Revolution post show, barring some unforeseen stuff. So I'll be back.
I hate to admit this, but that's a really cool sweatshirt you have on, by the way.
This one,
As a Steelers fan, it hurts, but that's undeniably a very cool sweatshirt.
Yeah, well, buddy, there's a lot of things that hurt right now as a Bengals fan, so I don't want to talk about it. I'll see y'all later.
I don't know who my quarterback is, so we'll see you next time around. But Sean giving you some scoop skis as well as who is going to be the underdog lock pick over on FightfulSelect.com. Plenty more that will be coming out of that Revolution pay-per-view. That card is looking really good. It's kind of nice right now because I feel like tonight's episode of Smackdown, not great. We're going to dig into more of it. But like the heel turn and their top stars are kind of in good places with stories. I feel like WWE is in the thick of what they do really well. And AEW in the past month to 6 weeks has gotten back to what they do really well. And it just, as someone that watches wrestling every day, is very nice to have both American companies on track at the same time doing their presentation the best that they do it. Like we have not had that sync up very often over the course of basically AEW's existence. So that's been really refreshing to watch as a fan. So thank you to the people wishing me happy International Women's Day too. Very, very much appreciated it. But let's dive back in. Let's talk about this because Mike Shutt, who's been hanging out with us behind the paywall as well, great fellas thing. The 5th Chelsea Michin match in 5 months, 5th. Yeah. And let's keep in mind that before it was for this title, there was a dumpster match that kind of inspired the creation of this title. It kind of said we need more women's titles on the show because we got to give these women something to fight for. And I guess they very specifically meant only these 2 women get to have this to fight for. This is ridiculous. They show out every time. I think Michin is one of the most underrated wrestlers, man or woman, on the roster. She's fantastic. When she was in NXT, she was making everybody she worked with look great. She is one of the most clever counter wrestlers that they have, regardless of gender. Chelsea's hysterical, man. She's Canadian and she's our US president, and now all of her backup is Scottish. It's very, very, very silly, but we get Michin with the Canadian Destroyer onto the chairs, and then we get Chelsea putting her away here. We get a nice eat defeat in here, and we get the hooded figure pulling Green out of the ring before she's going to eat that senton, and it's revealed to be Alba Fire. So our remaining spooky Scottish witch. Nice to see her in action, but I gotta say, like, I'm glad she's being used here. I don't like the insinuation that Piper Niven isn't enough backup. That's kind of weird because she's done her job really well. And I don't feel like I don't want things to get so in the way of the fact that Chelsea's actually a really good wrestler. I get that she's this archetype of heel, but like, I don't need more dirty finishes. I need more defenses against anybody else on the roster. Like, just let her fight, not Michin, for her title, and I will be a happy camper. But it's ridiculous that in the women's mid-card title, we have Lyra finally defending against Ivy Nile, who put on one of the coolest ankle locks I've ever seen in that match. And she faced Dakota the first time just because Dakota won a qualifying match after she had just faced her in the finals to win the damn title. My goodness. Like, let's freshen up these women's mid-card pictures. When I say there's still parts of this card that are limping into WrestleMania, I very specifically mean the women's mid-card titles as a piece of it. We're going to talk about the men's US title because that's not looking much better either. But I have more confidence that they'll do inspired work around it being back in LA Knight's hands. Great match. I don't know if this feels like it escalated beyond the dumpster feud, which was before this part ever actually happened. But what did you think of the match? And holy hell, are you ready to see them move on? Because I am.
I thought it was okay. And I think the reason why I felt it was just okay was we've seen this. We've seen this type of physicality between these two women. You know, that's their style.
Yeah.
You know, when they fight each other. And B is it's just the run-ins with her matches. Someone again now in a black hoodie. That black hoodie.
I was like, it's Solo Sikoa.
I mean, let me tell you something. When I was growing up as a young little wee Puerto Rican watching wrestling, it used to be that the wrestlers would destroy the monitors, and the running joke was that wrestling, WWE used to have a warehouse just full of friggin' CRT monitors. Just
Hell yeah, they did.
Because they would just use them all the time. And now it's the black hoodies. Now it's like they have a warehouse full of black hoodies because this is what they do now. Good for them. I think, they continue to showcase what they do there. But I'm so ready to be over. I'm done with the run-ins. I'm done with the ones-on-ones. I'm done with the different mixed matches,
Yeah, to get to the contenderships in the first place.
Yeah.
This did pop me, though. Josh Robinson saying hello. All of you are wonderful. Go Cactus Chelsea. Much love.
Yeah.
The Cactus Jack thing, that's actually the part that makes this so frustrating to me, is because nobody is trying harder than Chelsea Green right now, I feel like. Like, every time that woman does something on social media, makes an appearance on screen, does press, whatever, like, that woman has strategized every ounce of her character, like, with no doubt in my mind. You see everything she's trying to do, and they're like, how about Michin again? It's like, let her fight other people. She's clearly capable of helping make other people stars. She's really blossomed into one herself, but the Cactus Jack shout I thought was really fun.
I think that's just the way they see her. Remember, it's like you're just playing the part. The writers still have to just continue doing what they got to do. Right. So while she's entertaining us, the fans, with the fancy, garments and whatever else she's changing into and coming out as Cactus Chelsea,
So good.
That's all great. But there's still the whole back end of things, right? The business end of it. Like, they're just continuing to write these stories. Like, that's great. You look great out there. But that a writer's job, or whomever's putting these continuation of these matches together, they don't look at that. They really don't. They're not out there looking at the product. They're just making sure that they continue writing stories and moving things along. And that is very frustrating. That is extremely frustrating, because didn't we just hear Carmella talk about this? How, she put it out there.
Yeah.
We have had plenty of women wrestlers go and do interviews and talk about the frustrations of exactly that they're ready to continue to do something, but it's you're boxed in something that the company has going on in the back end. Try to dump it down as much as I could.
No, well, and even just reports like Sean had, where people are just frustrated by the usage.
Yeah.
My problem also is, like, Michin and Chelsea show out every time. It doesn't feel like there's anyone close to being next up for Chelsea on this women's roster.
There isn't. There's
like
nobody.
It doesn't feel
there's
like there's a game plan right now, which is very annoying.
Yeah.
But let's keep moving along. Let's talk about this Naomi and Bianca segment. When Sean said there was, like, we'll probably get over the heat that there is with Jade Cargill sooner rather than later. Will said, dude, Naomi tried to kill Jade over it. Let's dig in to this, where we basically have Naomi saying she is the one that attacked Jade. Mm-hmm. Bianca is there, looking amazing as always, but mourning in her black clothes, obviously.
Everyone wearing black, yeah.
This is obviously the end of this grouping, but she calls out Naomi and just says basically very simply, like, it's a yes or no question. Like, you either attacked Jade or you didn't. And Naomi's deflecting, but she finally admits that she attacked Jade, but says that she did it for the sake of the team. And Bianca is apoplectic and she walks away super heartbroken. And Naomi is very clearly to me like reacting extremely strong because I don't think Bianca was willing to hear her out as to why she did it. That's kind of how I interpreted all this, but she says she doesn't regret it. She wishes that she would have done it sooner. And then Jade arrives and beats the hell out of Naomi and leaves her laid out in the ring.
She should.
Yeah. This was extremely dramatically acted, but it's wrestling. Like this had the same vibes to me as like Cody and Roman with the like you're in the way.
She attacked her with a car, man. She attacked it. It seems that side of the family loves getting into vehicles and running people over. Little wink and nod to Rikishi running over. Was Stone Cold, back in the day.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Shame. Did you like this was very polarizing. Some people were like, I loved how weighted it felt, and other people were like, this was very, very soap opera for me. I don't like love it, but I'm like, it's wrestling. Like this is how
I'm
wrestling
so glad
goes.
you said that because that was exactly my thought while I was watching it. It was to me personally, it was very dramatic. The women pulled it off. That's not easy to do, especially with time constraints and whatever. Like you got to tell that story, right? And they did it. Extremely, extremely soap opera-ish. Up until when Jade comes out, right? That's when it goes Jerry Springer mode.
And I would say too, like part of Alex and I talked about the disconnect in this of on Select at Elimination Chamber. Bianca was like lost it in her pod when this all went down, and then was immediately able to set it aside and just won Elimination Chamber, like immediately back into superhero mode. So I think I can't handle it. Actually, I'm totally fine and I can win this match with no problem. Back into this, like I wish there was a little bit more connective tissue there, but I do appreciate what we got here, and I actually really liked when Bianca walked away and Naomi just went off. I'm like, I've done that reaction, that dramatic reaction. I've done that. I've done that to ex-boyfriends. I've done that before. Like I've yelled in that way and just been like, I wish I broke up with you sooner, you suck, kind of thing. Like that felt really good.
But I'll tell you what, it was, and I'm not saying that it was done in a bad way or distastefully. I'm just saying that they pulled it off. They pulled it off in the sense of like, I'm watching all my children or whatever novela I'm watching with my mother when I was a kid, like that's what it felt like. There was nothing wrong with that because that's what they went for. Right. And it 100% worked for them.
It's so funny because as I'm looking at this rundown, Alex, I think there was a good 2-hour episode in here. Like I'm looking at the things that were noteworthy and I'm like, this extra hour is just killing us because we're about to talk about Randy Orton's promo and like Orton came back. That's new and fresh. Like people wanted to hear what Cody had to say. This segment was a big reveal. So I think this 3-hour time is just brutal a little bit, but we're not the only ones feeling a little bored by this episode. Glassdoor Gamer saying WWE is getting boring. They're running out of the break glass in case of emergency. Attitude Era, ruthless aggression, guys. Great show, guys. Well, thank you for the compliments. And
Thank you.
I mean, there's definitely some new stars on the rise with like Braun Breaker. And I think certainly Jacob Fatu is not like a young, new to wrestling kind of talent, but he's going to be a new star for them for years to come. So there's some fresh names in the mix, but we've also just been seeing them hammer home the same combination of guys for like 2 years now. So, but someone we haven't seen in a while. Randall Keith Orton is back, Alex. How about this? He makes a sex joke. Okay. He says,
I don't like that. Mr.
Clavs.
I called the FCC. I said there's kids in the front row. What about the kids? Protect the kids. Yeah.
I feel like you're a man who would sell your calves for the right amount of likes. Okay,
Listen,
but Randy Orton
talking about
says,
likes, get those likes up there. Thank you guys for getting us over 100 likes. Thank you so much. Let's make it to 150. There's a lot of you in here. Hit that like button. The more you do, the more things. I mean, I got a clavicle oil here. I'll just start rubbing it down all over my clavicle.
that's not a thing, but
It's
there
100%
are
a thing now.
over 6,100 of you watching now, so thank you so much. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Let's talk about this Randy Orton promo where he says a lot of stuff has happened since since he was last around, which was not all that long ago, but he is right. A lot has changed. And he talks about John Cena and how he used to be like a top guy and now he's a bottom, a rock bottom.
Yeah.
If you will, which is,
If you will, yeah.
you're a TMDK fan, straight out of the Shane Haste playbook. But he talks about Kevin Owens here and says that he targeted Cody Rhodes out of jealousy, and he resents that Sami Zayn seems to like consistently be on the rise here. But he also, I like this a lot because he's setting up using the punt, which I think is like vital to the story. He talks about Owens dropping him on his head with an illegal move and tees up bringing back the punt, which I think most people are kind of rooting for. But he kind of says that he doesn't really get why Owens is so unsatisfied with his career, with all the accomplishments he's had, facing Stone Cold at WrestleMania, winning all these titles. He's just not happy. It's just not enough. And he kind of leaves us with the punt line, which I think there's so many things in play because I feel like he has to win with the punt, but I feel like Sami Zayn doesn't have a place on this WrestleMania card. And I feel like he has to come back and cost Kevin Owens probably. So I don't know how you interfere to set up a punt. That seems kind of odd, but I guess the punt can be used from a lot of different angles and stuff. But I liked this from Randy. It's fun to just get to see him be both excited about the work that he's doing and a face. I feel like he's mostly into what he's doing when he's a heel, and he's very transparent when he's bored by the work he's doing. So, which I love personally. Let us know if you don't like the creative you have. It cracks me up. But I like that the crowd is just genuinely excited he's around and he seems genuinely into what he's doing. Who couldn't be excited to work with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, man? That guy rules. So some good stuff here from Randy Orton. What did you think about this?
I thought it was very long. Or was it just me? It felt like it was like almost 20 minutes.
He has to take 15 minutes to get to the ring. So
yeah, I did write on the old blue sky. I skeeted. Is that what the kids still call it? I don't know. Okay, cool. So I skeeted on Blue Sky, and I wrote, this could have been an email very easily. Like, there wasn't a lot being said. I enjoy seeing him out there. The people enjoy seeing him out there. I wish there was just a little bit more fire. Like, the dude just took you out. I understand. Like, he kind of went through the paces of like, you almost took out Sam. You did this, you did that. But I want anger, right? Like, that punt is used because you've met your last like straw. You're pissed,
sure.
Right? Like, I want that evil dark Penta. No, I'm just kidding. Evil dark Randy Orton. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, that's the guy I loved. Man, when he was diabolical and just sitting out there and just that punt represents a side of him that took out legends. And like, it was next level. It was
we have
dramatic.
7 weeks. You know what I mean? I think if he's teasing it now, we'll probably get there. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I
understand. And I guess it's just me. Like, he had so much time out there that the things he said was stuff that he would normally just say, right? So I thought maybe there was going to be a little bit more. But you're right. There's 7 weeks. I get into this too much. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a writer.
No,
I like producing, and I get into it, and I'm a huge freaking wrestling fan. I'm still a kid. It's keep
in mind too. This is a return promo because he hasn't been on SmackDown in a while as well. So this is one of those.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
I am more intrigued for this story than a lot going into Mania, because I feel like Kevin Owens and Randy Orton is something we haven't seen a million times, which is kind of where the bar is right now, and they're just two of the very best. So I'm looking forward to seeing them tear it up at WrestleMania. But guys, get into your super chats and humper chats as we continue to talk through SmackDown. Reminder of our scheduling for the week. So you're going to have the Collision post show tomorrow, and you're also going to have Sean with the Revolution post show, and we're going to figure out what to do with these European shows too. Sean is going to have the post show from, I think, Barcelona on Monday, wherever they're at. But he said he's going to be live for y'all. So looking forward to that. But stay tuned for all of that and more. You'll also have me and Alex Pulowski, who was chatting along in the chat a little bit earlier, on Fightful Select with your Revolution post show as well. So stay tuned if you want to hear me and Alex be weirdos, which is our specialty. Tune in. But we also find out that we're going to get this match with Carmelo Hayes later in the night, set up for next week. We get the Miz and Carmelo Hayes talking with Nick Aldis, who had a bit of a Charlie from It's Always Sunny Philadelphia moment that we're going to talk about later. But Miz says SmackDown needs hard-hitting interviews and pitches a Mellow Don't Miz TV segment. Hayes says no, and then runs down Cody for turning down the Rock, excuse me. And he moves to mock Randy for coming back and tries to jump scare him. And Owens isn't here, but next week Randy can wrestle Carmelo Hayes. And Randy likes that idea very much and tells Hayes not to fumble the bag, which I thought was a nice little, I think, like young boy type thing, which I thought was pretty cute. That match should be great. I don't know what we're doing with Carmelo Hayes and The Miz. I think that is so a miscalculation of Carmelo Hayes' ceiling as a talent and The Miz's current role right now. They are acting like the reason Carmelo Hayes isn't over, like super over, is because it's Carmelo Hayes' fault rather than the absolute dog crap booking they've been giving him since he's come up to the main roster, basically. No offense to The Miz, but like I view Carmelo Hayes, and I think a lot of people do, as a future WrestleMania main eventer. I don't think we need like this Miz alliance, and I certainly don't want to see them facing each other at WrestleMania. That seems extremely, extremely silly and like a waste of their time, quite frankly. We're going to talk about Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu, but I'd rather see Fatu versus Carmelo and those two guys doing something else than what they're giving us if they're going to keep setting up those rematches. But let's talk about this Carmelo Hayes stuff first. Very much looking forward to the match with Orton. How are you feeling about this Miz alliance? Because it ain't for me.
I said it from the get-go. It just didn't make sense when they first were like playing around with this whole situation. It's like, unfortunately for me, it's like anytime they try to pair someone up with the Miz, it's just that means they don't have nothing for you. You know,
Kind of feels that way.
And you kind of went from having something great, which were those, the 7 Series matches, but that was it. That's all they had for you. Because even after that, it's just been, it hasn't been anything worthy of trying to get behind a character.
I agree, and I feel like a lot of people feel that way about Andrade as well.
100%.
And when I look at a SmackDown rundown of a 3-hour episode and I see Shinsuke and LA Knight again, Michin and Chelsea again, like the talent rotation just sucks. Like there's no excuse for that. But Carmelo Hayes versus Randy Orton, sign me up for that match because I think it's going to be super, super fun. But guys, we did mention that we have some pay-per-view stuff happening this weekend. They're not, we got asked a lot, like, are they on Max? They are on Amazon. Is there a discount? There's not, but you can kind of like sneak your way into a discount. If you were outside of the US in certain countries, it would be a little bit cheaper. I'm just saying. And we know the cheapest way to travel is with NordVPN.
If you're a wrestling fan and you're frustrated with all the services you need to watch all the different wrestling shows, Fightful has your solution with NordVPN.com/Fightful. Change your virtual location with just one click, and you'll be able to watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and PLEs on one Netflix account. You'll also be able to get a lot of pay-per-views at a much more affordable price than you do here in the United States. This is a must-have for wrestling fans. That way you don't have to have 7 different accounts to watch all of the shows that you want to watch. In addition to that, they have a great 30-day money-back guarantee and an incredible deal right now going on. But that's far from it. You can protect yourself on their VPN service, the fastest in the world, shield your data from snoops and criminals, protect yourselves on public Wi-Fi, and it's available on all your devices and operating systems. NordVPN.com/Fightful.
NordVPN.com/Fightful. They're such a good partner to us. They have been unbelievably consistent. I really, really appreciate their support. I know Sean does. We all do at Fightful, but they've just been one of the most consistent partners that we've had. They're one of the highest value codes that we offer with the code Fightful. So give NordVPN a try. Never a better time. I watch all of my WWE content on Netflix now because I cut the cord. So I love using NordVPN to allow me to do that. I'm in Toronto right now, as a matter of fact. And keep your internet secure. My goodness, between getting texts for scams every day when the post office and your Easy Pass is unpaid. Shut up, scammers. Okay?
Yes.
And don't be trying to hack into my stuff. I got NordVPN. You don't want to mess with that. Knock it off.
Knock it off. Scammers. Scram.
Yeah, scram.
Scram.
Get
Scammers.
out. I love her.
Leave her alone.
Alan Jeanette saying, let's give Mellow Don't Miz a chance. No, but I appreciate your perspective. No, I'm just kidding. Like they have nailed down like their odd couple thing of the Miz being kind of goofy and corny with a lot of stuff, even though he's the Hollywood A-lister, and Carmelo having such an opposite presence where he's like so calm and collected, but very cool and thinks the Miz's ideas are kind of corny. So they have that nailed down. So if that's for you, they're executing it well. I reviewed NXT and I know what Carmelo is capable of, and it's way, way more than this. Way, way more than this. Ryan Sully saying, hey, Kate, nice hair. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, keep up the great work, Fightful. Raw is at MSG on Monday. Cheers. I forgot it was the big MSG show, isn't it? I should go to one of those sometimes, but
You
they
should
are.
go to one of those sometime.
Yeah. They're, I cover 3 of their products every week. I should be able to go to one of those sometimes.
Go to MSG. Scram. Go
Scram.
right now.
You know what it is? I actually thought about it for the big NXT show that they're doing.
When is that? Next Tuesday?
Yes. But I was like, I have to review it with Alex. Like Tuesdays are the one thing that like of any show, that's the one I can't call out of the most because it's a variety show as much as a review anymore. And I need to be there.
Hey, you can just sit at the MSG lounge. It's open till like 3 a.m. and just turn on your phone and live stream from there, and you do the entire show live from MSG.
I just got good internet. I don't need to do it from Penn Station. Norva saying, here's a small sack of monies for bang spray and clavicle oil. I'm largely skipping WWE till after Mania. Revolution will be a spicy meatball. Man, there are so many like can't miss matches on that card, and all of them have really well baked stories, which is always the complaint. All they have to do is not add like 7 more matches for no reason to Collision tomorrow.
Yeah.
All I need them to do is not make it 18 matches long or whatever the hell, and it's gonna be a good time. But
they all have some type of meaning. It's not just a match just to have. Like they've done such an incredible job in the last 3 to 6 months to
Truly.
change things around.
And a lot of it, I mean, other than Ricochet and Swerve, so much of it has been like since the beginning of the year stuff. MJF and Hangman. I guess Fletcher and Ospreay's been going on a while. You could argue that Kenny and Takeshita goes back further, but like a lot of it feels very fresh, which AEW desperately needed. But let's move along here. I don't know, man. What should we talk about next? Let's talk about Tiffy and Piper. We get a video where Chelsea Green complains about defending her title in a street fight, which she already do, but that's okay. And she's interrupted by Tiffany Stratton. The two of them bicker, and Piper's doing some really great comedic work that I think sometimes gets overshadowed by Chelsea, but she's just doing an excellent job with a lot of stuff. But Piper and Nick Aldis come to an agreement that we'll keep Piper out of Chelsea's corner in the street fights, which I thought was good. That opened up the door for Alba Fire, but says she's essentially going to have her own match here against Tiffany Stratton. And we go right into that match after, get this, a video clip of Cena's heel turn in case you hadn't seen it. But really fun match. Piper Niven's so great. And later we see her just absolutely selling the hell out of her injuries from this match. But she goes for a Vader bomb here, but Tiffany moves and hits the prettiest moonsault ever. And then after the match, Charlotte Flair in a very intense, higher fashion than I comprehend outfit, with really bright orange boots, puts on like a hell of a figure eight. I gotta say, like the stuff that she can do, she hit a natural selection at heels when she went to NXT to face Rhea. And she put in a hell of a figure eight in actual boots. I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Looked great. Very paint by numbers, though. The crowd didn't respond too heavily because it's kind of obvious these things are coming on the road to WrestleMania at this point. But good match. I want to see Piper get to take up some more oxygen on SmackDown programming. Like she's been getting more matches, which is great. I love that. But I feel like she's just one of the very best. So I want to see the world for her. I'm sure she eventually turns on Chelsea. I hope that she wins the title from her. What do you think of this match in the segment that we got?
Yeah, it was good. It was, and you did mention that, you know, like when you just mentioned it, that when Charlotte came out, it wasn't like the big moments, you know, like, oh my God, we're seeing this. No, it's more like, okay, cool. Like everyone just kind of is running through the paces with that storyline right now. I think also people are scared. People don't realize, like, we spoke about this while she was injured. When she comes back, where's she going to be? And I mentioned right back in the title picture. Why wouldn't she be? And here we go. Right. By any chance, did your screen go black?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I feel
I was like,
can I just say that
Black showing back up here? What happened?
Yeah, I think about her. I think about her a lot when she does her when she's in the ring. Like, you know, her wardrobe. It's very difficult. Like they're doing like insane maneuvers and stuff like that. So I'm always thinking like a dad, like, you know, put a sweatshirt on.
Dad, I want to look cool.
I know, but I was just like, I thought it glitched.
You don't even know the maneuvers women have to make sure this stuff doesn't happen. I promise you.
Right.
I mean, I don't always see it from sometimes, but like you have the amount of tape that happens.
Oh, understood. Correct. Yes, but it's still, you know, you're still in the ring. You know.
No, you're doing physical movement and like locking in a figure eight is a lot. I also just didn't want her to like break an ankle, but she knows what she's doing. She knows
what she's doing. I've been in a figure eight before. No, I haven't.
Well, because you're a backyard wrestler.
Don't ever badmouth my backyard wrestling federation.
I never would.
I have the videos, friends. I'm getting them digitalized and then putting up a whole entire, you know, like WWE, just put WCW.
Oh my God, are you gonna strike a deal with Tubi?
You know, Tubi's they're overloaded. They got way too much wrestling now. So
I think you should be on Evolve. They should buy your catalog of your backyard wrestling, and you should be on WWE Evolve.
Bunch of 40-year-olds. I mean, hey, if who is it? Look at AJ Styles is still doing it. I mean, I can too.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that I destroyed my entire body in the
Basically
military.
the same.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I can take a spike pile driver. I'm good.
Later in the episode, we get Piper Niven just selling in the back. She's incredible. And we get a setup for Zelina Vega, who I guess is going to lose. Next.
Jesus, I feel so bad for her.
She gets nominated to lose all the time. It sucks.
Yeah.
Like they gave her a cool
know.
video package. Apparently she's gonna be set up to lose to Chelsea Green. And I just wish they would give her some wins so that she looked impressive going into it. You know what I mean? Like, just let her have some reps. You have a 3-hour SmackDown show. You can't give this woman a couple singles wins? Come on, man.
Unbelievable.
It's like how they had oh my gosh. Ivy Nile just losing her way into the IC title picture. It's corny. Stop. Give women wins on television.
It's
you have
corny.
the TV time. Well, it's like Netflix doesn't have a time limit, right? They can go as long as they want. And you have 3 hours here. There's no reason you shouldn't have more women's wrestling to set up contenderships for titles.
Wait. Yes, maybe on the Raw side. But for SmackDown, they're still on their main thing is USA, so they still got to kind of like.
But it's 3 hours long.
Well, you got to give 22 minutes for Randy Orton to get from the friggin' entrance into the ring. So
no, you don't.
I'm sorry.
No,
yeah, apparently you and I know that, but
let's talk about Drew and Big Jim.
Oh, please stop! What are you doing? Why are you adding to that? Don't call him Big Jim.
If you can't beat it, join it. But
whoa. And if you two, never mind.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Like next week. We get Drew selling the hell out of his knee. I thought he did a good job with this. After a spot where he gets tossed off the top rope, and then Jimmy goes for a splash, but he misses, and Drew hits with the Claymore. I don't love when someone sells the knee and then immediately turns around and kicks someone, because either your plant foot or your kicking foot should be effective. But it's Drew McIntyre, so I kind of believe he's indestructible. So I'll take it. Desperately needed this win from him. This was more competitive than I thought it was going to be, to be honest. No offense to Big Jim. I don't know what Big Jim is doing WrestleMania weekend, and I don't know if they do. That's kind of a bummer. What did you think of this match? I think Drew needed this after getting eliminated so early at Elimination Chamber, but he just is whining his way through life over here, and I respect it. I respect it as someone who also whines their way through life.
Let me tell you, Big Jim is probably going to be watching his brother do stuff at WrestleMania. That's
He'll be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or whatever. Yeah.
Oh God, the winner, Big Jim.
If I hear that's why he's big. That's why he's big now, because he has to win that.
You have 2 nights. It could be Big Jimania. Why not? I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Drew. Drew's just kind of like floating around beating people up right now. You know, he's here, he's there. I'm okay with it. You know,
we do get Damien Priest coming out here to ambush Drew McIntyre, so they are moving that along. But much like the Charlotte appearance, like we just have come to expect these before, so it's not like it's bad storytelling. It's just very, very predictable storytelling.
Yeah, and you got they're sliding Damien into this, which is great. They kind of speeded this up a little bit to kind of make sense, like why are they fighting? And they kind of started making things happen, and it makes you understand why he's there. I do want to see Damien, though, get some good wins underneath him. I think it's very important, to set him up for future success.
Give me Damien versus Andrade for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be fun as hell.
You
have new people on SmackDown do fresh matchups. You know what I mean?
Do that. Like, we can't, because we just argued that we hate rematches. We're gonna have 3 rematches for 3 weeks.
But like, my point being, you now have fresh people on SmackDown that haven't been there before. Yeah. Do fresh matchups. Like, do something interesting with Andrade. I feel like Damian Priest could be a really fun dance partner for him. But let's keep moving along. we have our tag picture to talk about here. We got Nick Aldis doing a video package recap with all the tag team chaos, and he's got the solution for you. Next week, Street Profits get a title shot, but tonight, Pretty Deadly, Los Garzas, and Motor City Machine Guns get a #1 contender spot. It's giving Charlie from It's Always Sunny. There is no Carol in HR on this. Nick Aldis continuing to be the clearest authority figure in all of wrestling. So God bless him for that. But we come back. Here's my only issue. Okay. Like it doesn't actually have to do with the match. I like who won. I liked a lot of the match. You do not have Pretty Deadly come out to the ring and not let me hear the full theme. That theme is like one of the 2 good songs that has come out of this new era. The Pretty Deadly theme, their entrance, they're coming out looking all bedazzled on top. You've got the red non-shirt situation happening. I deserve, as a human being in the world, okay, to hear the full Pretty Deadly theme. It's a banger. They're the best. They ended up winning. They certainly shouldn't have gotten a jobber entrance if they were going to win. But it is a good match, and I like the way that they won too. You got Prince and Sabin getting back in the ring, and you get Wilson breaking up the skull and crossbones, and him catching Sabin with a black backslide to get the pin. I like that they faced them before, and this time they're prepared for the skull and crossbones. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like we see them use that move a lot, and someone should figure out how to counter it by now. I like that Pretty Deadly gets to look smart in that finish, but for the love of God, how dare they not let me hear the full theme? How dare they?
Well, they had to give Randy Orton 25 minutes for an entrance, so they had to cut the Pretty Deadly song short.
I would watch their entrance and listen to their song for a 25-minute loop. It's too good.
Yeah, I just, my boys won. That's all I care about. It was great. As soon as they did, I called them up. We had a good chat right after the match.
Oh, do you guys coordinated wardrobe for next week?
Yeah, we did. We had, they're the ones who got me into clavicle oil, so we kind of just were celebrating, just
theirs looked great out there, so
oiling ourselves up and just having fun, and I'm glad they won. It's okay for these guys to win once in a while. It's okay because we know they're there for the entertainment, but we also know they're really effing good in the goddamn ring.
And I will say that is something we've gotten to see more with the expansion to 3 hours. Pretty Deadly specifically has gotten to show it a lot more than they used to, and that rules. Give me their full entrance. Give me their musical.
Fandango and Breeze when they were doing the X-Files thing. Yeah.
The Fashion Files.
Yeah, the Fashion Files. Yeah.
That ruled. That ruled. It's a good time to for men that are serving. You know what I mean? Because you got MXM Collection on AEW. They're walking around with Johnny TV and Taya of modeling. You got these guys, there are some fashionable fellas walking around right now, and we love that. So we do also get another quick Street Profits vignette. I hope they win. I hope that they win. DIY kind of counters back, just dismissing the Street Profits attitude, and then Ciampa tries to have a moment of silence, but Byron Saxton interrupts, which was pretty cute. Ciampa and Gargano are great. I think they have a chance to do something special with the Street Profits. Do it. It's been so overdue for Montez Ford. It's been so long since they felt important on the show. You have had them doing these great vignettes week after week after week. Just strap them up. What do you think?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Go ahead. Just, I mean, if you're gonna get this team a brand new, they overlooked them, right? They just look great. They sound great. They're beating people up. You got to have them come out there and set dominance. Okay. You got 2 guys that you're going to fight, you know what I'm saying, that are way smaller than you are. Yeah, they're scrappy. Yeah, they're going to try to bite at your ankles. But you're the goddamn Street Profits, all right?
I like it. I like that
All
you're
right?
fired up about the Street Profits.
I'm
Let's go.
because it's time. Because
It really is.
for
It's
some
so
reason
overdue.
there's a group of wrestlers that you just know it's their time, and it should have been handled correctly at certain points. There's no
Months
reason,
ago.
yeah, like, the amount of storytelling that you could have been able to tell if they would have won, lost, and then now leading back into WrestleMania trying to get that like gold. Like that's how tag team wrestling used to be. The dramatics over the tag teams who just fought and climbed and clawed their way to get, they're kind of bringing that back a little bit here, but as long as they get the machine gun people out of my way, I'm set, baby. This is one of
The
the
Motor City Machine Gun Kellys.
I will call it the greatest tag team division in the entire universe and world and planet, as long as these two rookies don't continue ruining it for me.
I love that this started as you being like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not like sold on it. And then we all just decided that you're a hater. And now we're here. We're here for the bit. But
Full
guys,
blown. I've reached my point where I am now Drew McIntyre.
you're the Drew McIntyre hater of Motor City Machine Guns. And honestly, I'm here for it. But guys, get in your super chats and your humper chats. We are coming down the home stretch here. We do have later in the episode Santos Escobar berating Los Garza for their loss. Humberto is left alone, and Andrade asks him why he would take such abuse. Andrade versus Santos Escobar, 8 times a week, 7 days a week, and twice on Sunday. Please, both of these guys have been parked for too long. Every time they use Andrade just for like a rep, he shows out. Santos Escobar rules. I'm here for that.
That's coming down the pipeline.
Here for that.
Yeah. We speak a lot about feuds and seeing certain feuds kind of like week in and week out make an impact, right? This might be one of them. This might be like these two will go the distance. Here's the problem.
I mean, it's still team Hispanic wrestlers can only wrestle each other,
right,
but I also want to see this really bad.
But that's,
you know what I mean?
That's instilled in that company. That's never going to change. I hope you know this. That's in their playbook.
AEW too.
Yes,
it's
correct. Yeah, it's a professional wrestling thing.
Send them out there with Abrahantes and have them do incredible athleticism for no reason. Like I don't get it.
I think you have them. I think you have this feud. You have something built out. I say this a lot, and I'm sorry that I say this a lot, but I fear for what happens afterwards. After, like we've already seen it with Carmelo Hayes. Great fights, and then look where we're at now, right? And I said this when he was fighting Andrade. I said, I'm afraid what's going to happen on the other side of the tunnel now. Like after he gets out of this. So when it comes to like my Hispanic talent, my Latinos, you know what I'm saying? Like...
Well, the frustrating thing about the best of 7 was it was for a contendership, and then they just made the 7th match not matter because they just had had the triple threat LA Knight one anyway. Like, so don't get us invested in something to make it then pointless is like the most annoying thing in the world.
Right.
We get Braun Strowman versus Solo Sikoa. This one is quick and ends in a disqualification. Braun hits a quarter avalanche, but Solo slips off his shoulder and runs Braun into the corner a few times and hits some super kick. But the Samoan spike is countered with a slam, Batamatanga running in, causing the DQ. I like what they're trying to do. I don't like the execution of it because post-match Jacob Fatu interrupts and there's more brawling and he takes the same slam, but he's able to get back up to his feet. And that's a good, like, Jacob Fatu is unkillable. This feud is not over thing. I don't want to see Braun Strowman versus either of these guys at WrestleMania. I don't. Like, it needs to be Fatu versus Solo. Again, we have plenty of time to get there, but like, I don't know why Braun Strowman is like the pivot point in the story. It feels very clumsy to me. But I get what they were going for. I just feel like I wish they took a different avenue, but is what it is. Certainly not a bad match. Certainly not a bad beatdown. I just feel like this thing with Braun Strowman is going on a little too long for my comfort.
No, you're right. I mean, we've seen a lot of this repetitive stuff going on now. You know,
Yeah,
lot-
rematch city on the way to
yeah.
Mania. Yeah.
We understand we don't want people to get hurt either. So, it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. You have 2 nights you got to fill.
Sure.
But boy, I mean, a lot of like interferences, a lot of people getting involved, a lot of aftermatch, squabble up, baby. You know what I mean? Kendrick Lamar.
Post
Yeah,
match
so,
beatdowns. Yeah. Yeah. a
like,
little Kendrick there.
no, Kendrick, you know what I'm saying? I'm hip with all the good stuff.
You're hip.
But yeah,
You're cool.
And when I watch these wrestling shows, just like you and just like you guys here on the audience that in the chat, we know what's happening, and it's kind of hard to try to turn that into something polished that we could able to talk about and bring it to you. So I hope that after this event, after WrestleMania, man, we see a all new flourishment
That would be nice.
of talent and things happening, because that roster is way too big for them not to have more quality matches and things happening on our televisions.
I agree. Guys. We are going to talk about our main event, LA Knight reclaiming the US title, which I do think is the right call. As much as I love Shinsuke Nakamura, it is a bit of a bummer because it just feels like it wasn't, again, no real stories built around it, a little bit kind of weaker. And it does feel like the in-ring hasn't been super there. Like it feels like it started off well, and then it kind of feels like it slipped a little bit with Shinsuke. LA Knight is still super over. There was this spot in here where Shinsuke Nakamura used the mist and it knocked out the referee, and I was like, don't use this as an excuse to run this back again, please. But they didn't. Substitute ref comes down. We get a BFT onto the chair. Decent match. I think LA Knight holding the title going into Mania is the right call. Who do you want to see LA Knight face at Mania for this US title? And what did you think of our final match here?
Match was all right. I feel like it was, unfortunately, the whole deal with Shinsuke was wasted. It felt
feels like
that,
a pit stop for LA Knight just to get it back anyway.
Yeah, damn it. I didn't want it to feel like that, but that's certainly what it, because where does Shinsuke go next?
Sure.
Besides him just being a badass and looking like a badass. That's about it, for now. Man, who does he face? That's
yeah. And is this going to be the multi-man match? I think a lot of people think the Intercontinental title match is going to be the big multi-man match kind of thing. Would be kind of cool if like Trick Williams or Ricky Starks or someone like came up, but I don't know who LA Knight hasn't already faced. Like, he's already faced Andrade, he already faced Carmelo, he's faced Shinsuke a bunch of times, he faced members of the New Bloodline a bunch of times in his first reign. So like, where do we go? Because your roster is not that stacked on SmackDown for a 3-hour show. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what happens. Hopefully it's just not another rematch. Because
maybe they'll do another tournament. They'll do something with that, and maybe throw my Hispanic dudes in there and see if anyone comes out on top and says, "Hey, no," because then
Santos would be awesome. But they faced each other before too.
Yes, they did. Yeah. And I would, with the way things are going, I would just do a crazy angle where I deface the U.S. title as Evil Santos. Like,
that'd be fun as hell. I'm in.
This means nothing to me, and and just puts a freaking Mexican flag on it.
People are saying Jacob Fatu. I would love that. But I don't. It feels like this solo Sikoa storyline is progressing too much to not have them.
I think that's Solo. You're gonna see Solo and Jacob fight each other soon, and then later.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Bad Robot saying, hello, favorite post show. Pretty deadly for Mania. I need the musical. Do Wicked. Bring out Ariana Grande. Has anyone called The Rock's Corporation The Rock and Scott Connection? Yet, I heard someone call Cena and The Rock the Break-A-Wish Foundation, and I just about fell out of my chair.
Wow.
Pretty
Okay.
Deadly would absolutely, like, I could see them as Glinda and Elphaba. I think they would destroy. The blonde hair's already there. I'm here for it. But Ricardo saying, just to say, y'all are loved. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad you don't have to work through our shows anymore. That makes me happy. But let's pull this train into the station. Let's remind you one more time, though, that we do have a Collision post show, a Revolution post show, and a Raw post show coming up for you this weekend. It's about drive. It's about power. Fightful's got you covered. We stay hungry. We devour over here. Okay, just made that up off the top of my head right now.
We what? We sell flour?
No one's ever said it before. Mm-hmm.
Like bread flour? We're making.
Mm-hmm. I'm making sourdough bread. That's
Yo,
what's up.
for real. I'm coming to your house. Let me get one. Let me get a loaf.
Before we get out of here, plug away.
Well, normally I like to say you can find me, but today I want to say you can get at me by going to alexiscardoza.com and make sure you follow there. March 18th, is that the date? March 28th. It's the release of That Was Pretty Retro 90s edition. Make sure you guys go check it out with myself and Austin M. Romero. You guys might know him by his stage name, Mike Rome. Or if you want to kayfabe it, he is Mike Rome. Yeah, so we're going to be talking all things 90s. I can't wait to bring you guys that. We're going to have, it's going to be a millennial love fest.
I love that.
We all miss it because if you think about it, when you think 25 years ago, you're thinking, oh, wow, yeah. 1955? No, 1995.
Okay, I don't need you reminding me how old I am, but you can catch me at Miss Kayfabe on social media. You can catch me reviewing Revolution behind the paywall on FightfulSelect.com. We'll keep you guys posted as to what is going on with our post shows, European tour, time-wise and stuff, what that'll all look like. But stay tuned. Have a safe and wonderful wrestling weekend. Nerd.
It says Ranger Things.
Ranger Things. Oh my God. Both of my Alexes and their graphic tees, I swear to God.
What?
Have a safe and wonderful wrestling weekend. We will see you next Friday. Be well.
Oil your claps.